Did you happen to pick the BPMs for the song based upon her heartbeat at all? Or
No, no.
Y'all, we are back like the top of your butt. This is Diaper Dads, Season 2, Episode 2, and I am George 2.0. That's 3 2s. I didn't even do it I didn't know that. That means it's going to be a really, really lucky conversation, a really, really lucky day. I am super excited today. One, just to have you all come back for the second episode. The last episode with Reggie, we're getting DMs, we're getting texts, I'm getting side chats saying just how much his vulnerability and his story sharing meant to so many dads. And that's important for us here. As I said on the last episode, and as I'll continue to say, this conversation is about the shared journey of parenthood. Now, we happen to focus on dads and papas, fathers, padres, but for whatever role your father figure has played in your life, or for those of you that are looking to be fathers or just found out you're going to be a father or are scared to death of being a father, this conversation is for you. To be quite, frank, we're honest enough here at Diaper Dads to admit that we don't have all the answers, but we're curious enough to ask all the questions. And hopefully today you'll find out that we are vulnerable enough to share our stories. And that's the most important thing, right? That fathers have an opportunity to have conversations. Now, formerly, this conversation took place on Instagram, so you guys could chat along. But we figured now, we want to put it in a platform space that makes it easy for you to listen to in the shower or on the way to pick up your kid from clarinet practice or manscaping or whatever you do with your time. This podcast, of course, is available on all DSPs. This is Diaper Dads, and we look forward to all your feedback. Today, we're going to get right into a conversation with a father who I knew before he was a father. But certain people kind of have that energy. You can tell by the depth in their voice, the tone that they can, hey, that they got a hey in them, that they already have their father utility belt there. This brother actually, I met quite some time ago, as I said before, he was a father, and we've just continued to grow and expand opportunities to spend time, to share music with people, to build out experiences for people together all over the country. But today we're going to have a really unique conversation about a new role that he's playing as a father. Take a listen to this.
Hold up. DJ Fly got here fresh off the plane from Miami. Back light.
I told you, right? I mean, experiences. That's what he's about, bringing experiences. And I think that this new experience, he'll be just as happy to share with you. So, Diaper Dads, if you would, welcome my brother, my friend, Rasan Alexander, a.k.a. DJ, a fly guy.
What's happening, 2.0?
See? Y'all heard that, right? Y'all heard that dad voice is already there, right?
Yeah.
What's going on, man?
I'm good, man. Actually, you caught me on a good day. Actually, we just got back from our baby's therapy, speech therapy, and occupational therapy that she goes to once a week.
Oh man, that's great. That's great. So I have to ask because I haven't had that particular experience, and I know there are a lot of fathers on here because the spectrum of fatherhood and parenthood is just so broad, right? Was that a choice that you made? Was that a necessity that was made, or was that something that kind of just came as a decision afterwards?
It was a necessity. If we want to jump right into
Go ahead. Yeah.
what is going on, and I know the public, as far as social media is concerned, isn't really aware, but my wife and I, we have a 6-month-old baby girl. Her name is Scarlett. And she has a diagnosis, and with that diagnosis, it kind of puts a little delay on development, I'll say. So the doctors and the surgeons and the specialists and everyone, they suggested to us early on that it would be a good idea to get her in speech therapy because she has a feeding tube. So she goes to speech therapy to get her to engage her suck, swallow, breathe, mechanisms. So that she can then eat by bottle and by spoon and, eventually solid foods and get off of the the feeding tube, and then the occupational therapy for her motor skills, coordination, things of that nature. So, and she's doing great. She's been in it for 2 weeks now. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
As most things in life are. And we take it all one day at a time, and we go according to her pace.
I was talking to my dad the other day, and he was saying that when I was born, the doctor handed me to him and said, "Count all his fingers and toes." And he was just like, "I never even thought that that was a thing I had to think about. Like, you just don't think about those things." But I think now for us, as fathers that have become fathers later on in life, and as technology has grown, there are some things that we're privy to that our parents weren't. There's more information, there's more tests, there's more,
Yeah.
all the stuff that you kind of go through, and you're getting all this paperwork, and you're saying, "Oh, this might happen, or this didn't happen, or we dodged this bullet." And you're like, "I didn't even know that this was a possibility."
Possibility, yeah.
When you started to find out, I'm assuming along the way, that there might be some hurdles or some obstacles, that the three of you might have to go through. Can you talk to us about what that feeling was like, particularly as a father who's not carrying the baby, trying to express yourself, but also be strong, for your girls?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the biggest challenge. One of the bigger challenges we face as the father and the husband is to be the support system. And it's a learning process, but you want to make sure that you're trying to be the voice of reason, as emphatic as possible, as sympathetic as possible, and trying to just make sure that you take care of your partner and that life that she is carrying inside of her throughout the process. And that's just in a regular pregnancy. That's not even including when you add on the layers of issues that you face when there are other things involved. So I'll tell you, George, like at one point we had decided to cancel our baby shower because of what was told to us by the doctors, because of what they suspected and expected to happen. And then this is after sending out invites and everything, and planning it all and all the excitement. And then you go to one doctor's appointment and you go to another one, and then they tell you something, and then they tell you something else the next week, and then you find yourself saying, well, why are we even going to have a shower, right? And then you cancel it, and then you say, but you know what, God has the last say so, regardless of what any doctor says. So then we changed our thinking into a more spiritual way. We did a lot more praying. We had people pray for us. And then we just decided, you know what, we're going to have this baby shower because this baby is going to survive.
Yeah.
And, and it's going to go from there. So that's how that process went.
And she did survive.
Yeah, she did. They said that she wouldn't make it to full term.
Wow.
Then they said that that she wouldn't make it once the umbilical cord was cut. And then they said, well, she might not last past the first week. So everything, there was always like something else that they were saying that was going to happen. And then they said that she was going to have this issue and that issue. And they ran all these tests, and she didn't have any of the expected, deformities or situations that usually comes along with this diagnosis, right?
Yeah.
And then we, my wife and I, we look at each other and we say, well, that's nothing but God right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and that's how we've been, changing our thought process throughout the whole journey. She just turned 6 months old this past Saturday, and it's amazing, man. Yeah. It's amazing to see her, grow and develop every day, little bit by little bit. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, man. Life is extremely beautiful. Being a father is extremely beautiful.
It's the best, man. And I can't imagine. I mean, it's hard too, right? It's really hard, but I can't imagine not being a father at this point. It's actually permeated everything that I do, and for those of you listening, well, actually, let me take a step back. So, and I know I introduced Fly Guy as a DJ, but I probably shouldn't have used that article. I should have said the DJ. And the reason I say that is because the kind of intent that you put into, your time spent creating musical experiences for people is obvious. You know, I can remember an HBCU spring coming before the pandemic, and you came on about halfway through the party. And I mean, something, you know, it was Gucci. Something was playing and everybody was really turned up. And then the music just stopped. And then you heard this. 10, 9, 8, 7. And I was like, 6, 5, 4, wait a minute, dog. Wait a second, bro. What? It was a sense of occasion and purpose that you brought into the DJ booth that I just actually hadn't seen before. And I think about what it takes for you to get yourself together mentally to be able to provide that energy. You know, we were in Atlanta a couple of weeks ago, and you graciously flew in and did the party Black Love for us. And I think the party might have been over 2 or 3. You might have been at the airport by 5.
Yeah, about
because you know, because you knew you had to get back. And so in my mind, not only to get back for more work, but to get back to your family. How has the party scene changed for you now that you're a father? How do you go from changing the diaper, hearing the crying, to going out and being free of whatever is encumbering you so that you can give people the experiences that they came to get?
You know, some people, I think, don't realize that there's a skill to compartmentalizing your life. And sometimes it can be a hindrance, sometimes it can be a benefit. So when I'm at work, I'm full DJ mode, but when I'm at home, I'm full dad mode. I remember a time in my life where, you know, I would kind of be like fly guy all the time in every aspect of life. And it's like, well, nah, you know, it's a little different now. So, you know, work is work and home is home. Like, the job is the job and the family is the family. And they, you know, it's really about separating my you know, mentality in 2 different areas of my life. So I can change a diaper and kiss my baby and play patty cake with her, and then go to live on Sunday and then go DJ for 1,500 people, and then leave there at 5 a.m., come back home and she's waking up, change the diaper again, play patty cake again. You know, it's like there's no blurred lines with for me with, you know, the public persona and the dad.
And you said live on Sunday, right? I'm like the world famous.
Yeah. Shout out to my headliner, Market Do family, Mike Gardner. Yeah.
You know, it's funny because when I think about DJing for a crowd that big and that expectant, I wonder whether or not for you, are you looking to one person as the metronome, or are you looking to a pocket of people, or are you just so in your own zone that you're not really thinking about, you know, how people are responding? You just know that they're going to respond to you.
Well, I would never be as arrogant to say I don't care about the people, because I know they're going to respond to me, because you never know. You know, you never know what the energy you're going to have in the room is, what the energy is going to be. But I can say that, like you say, it's a pocket of people that I focus on. And what I've come to understand in my 15 years as a professional DJ is that human beings respond to energy. So if there's a pocket of energy over here, it's going to transfer to the pocket next to them, and then table next to them. And then as you're going to see a multiply, before you know, you have 1,000 people put their hands up all at the same time, singing along to a particular song. You know, and that's how I've come to understand how my approach to the craft of DJing works. You know, other DJs may see it differently, but, you know, I've always focused on, okay, who in here is vibe? Where's the vibe? There's the vibe. I'm going to match their vibe. They're going to match mine. And then we're just going to let it multiply throughout the rest of the room.
Diaper Dads, we're here, episode 2, with a fly guy, a DJ, a brother, and perhaps most relevant to this conversation, a father. Give us just a second. We'll be right back after this break. Dads, are you tired of carrying your bag and the kid's bag? Tired of trying to figure out how to make the airport travel with crumb snatchers look cool? Well, you can't. You're a dad. It's going to look corny. Get over it. I'm kidding. We have the perfect bag for you. Introducing Diaper Bags for Dad's new Colby expandable bag. The Kobe bag will make you the most admired father at the playground, I promise. It's made with high-quality materials. There are 19 easy access pockets to organize everything you'll want or need. And I gotta tell you, the easy access pockets always make me look so prepared and organized. It has the largest insulated bottle pockets of any diaper bag, specifically designed to carry up to 32-ounce baby or adult bottles, because parents need to stay hydrated too. It has a charging port, a luggage strap, and a laptop pocket that can fit every size laptop. When most bags can only fit up to a 15-inch laptop, this one even has a tablet pocket. It's water resistant. Water repels right off. Lemonade, juices, urine. Don't let your kid pee on it, but if your kid does, the bag will repel it. It even has a sunglasses strap, so you don't have to be the guy with your glasses around your neck like a librarian. And yes, it has a lifetime warranty. Now here's the hookup, because dads always need a hookup. Fans and followers of the Diaper Dads podcast can use the discount code Diaper Dads to get 15% off. 15% off! Please, right now, go to Diaper Bags for Dad on Instagram or visit us on the website at WSELBAGS.com. That's WeSellBags.com. So we are back like the top of your butt. And right before we left, I was asking Fly about how he negotiates the space between him and the crowd in the DJ booth, whether he has expectancies or whether he looks for reactions. And it kind of got me thinking, as a father, there's a certain expectancy that we have for ourselves as a partner, depending upon the role we play in our partnership or our marriage. There might have already been an established expectancy between the two of you. One of you might be the fixer, one of you might be the cook, one of you, whatever that thing might be. Mm. And then there is the reality that comes when Scarlett comes and you're like, wait a minute, the things I thought I was going to be, the things I thought I was going to do, mm-hmm. the things I thought I was going to think, they've changed because a child changes everything. Mm-hmm. Has there been anything about you in how you thought you were going to navigate the world of fatherhood that has changed? And even more specifically, have you had to lower any expectations of yourself? Had you had to give yourself any grace and say, you know what, I actually don't know how to do this. Let me not be so hard on myself. Or have you just knocked it out the park since day one?
No, there's been a lot of humbling myself, that I've had to develop, because I'll say this, my wife and I, we got married in August. And Scarlett was born in April, like a couple months before that. So, we're newlyweds, new parents. My wife is her first child. So there's a lot of learning that's happening simultaneously. And what I can say is that to be fully transparent, with you, George, is, I have a 14-year-old daughter that I spent a lot of years not seeing because of, things I just won't want to discuss, that deal with her mom. But I went to the courts and I got into family therapy. I requested family therapy to reestablish a connection. Mm-hmm. Her mother and I were never together. So this experience is completely different because it's hands-on 24 hours mm-hmm. every day. Mm-hmm. So it's when you say a new father, yeah, it's new in the sense that it's 14 years later, starting all over. Mm-hmm. And it's a totally different experience day in, day out. What I've learned, or as I continue to learn every day, is how much value I think sometimes is not placed on the importance of the mother and how demanding it is to be a mom. Mm-hmm. And as a father, observing what my wife does as a mother, it shows me that there are days where I feel like I don't do enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I don't do enough because I'm physically incapable of doing it because I can't breastfeed.
Yeah, breastfeeding. Right. Mm-hmm.
So I've had to learn other ways to supplement the things that are draining to my wife, being the mom. Mm-hmm. How do I be the dad? So, it's just different things about learning. How do you, as the father, as the husband, how do you help to take the load off of the mother? Because that is so demanding. And I really had no concept or understanding of that prior to this stage of my life. And, I don't know if I would have been as prepared as a young father, as, guys that are having kids at 22 and 23 and getting married young. And, I don't know how they do it, because I don't know how we do it day to day sometimes. I don't want to take away from her and what she does, because I say she's 10 times more important than me. But I do think that a lot of times fathers don't get respected enough from outsiders looking in. And I'll give you an example. When Scarlett was born, she was in the NICU, the newborn intensive care unit, for 47 days straight, right?
Wow.
And she came out for 2 months, and then she got infected with RSV, and then ended up in the pediatric ICU for another month.
Mm.
But in those 2 time periods, I would always notice, like, the nurses would come into the room, because we slept at the hospital every night.
Right.
Like, we
Right.
didn't let, but they would always, like, say, "Hey, mom," or, "Mommy, do you need anything? Mommy this, mommy that." And it would never be like, "Well, what about dad? Dad's right here."
Mhm.
And as a Black family, you might not be used to seeing, because
That
even
partnership.
there were a lot of, Black mothers in there, but you would never see, like, the fathers.
Yep.
Like, no, I'm her husband,
I'm here.
and I'm this baby's father, and
Yeah.
I'm here every day like she's here. We
Yep.
come together, we leave together.
Yeah.
And I always notice this seems like there's this disconnect between the acknowledgement, I'll say, of
Yeah.
father and the hospital at some point. Not everybody, but sometimes where even she would be like the nurse will say something, and she'd be like, "Yeah, and this is my husband,
Right.
you know,
Right.
this is Carla's father," and I'll be like, "Damn, like, I'm right here too,"
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That was one of the hardest things for me, I think, particularly because, and again, we spent time in the hospital both before and after, and some things unexpected leading up. Of course, when pregnancies happen over a certain age, particularly for Black women, there are obstacles that are just, they come up, right? And
Mhm,
I can remember the feeling of helplessness,
mhm,
because I couldn't, I didn't get the morning sickness that some fathers do, and obviously I wasn't carrying. And I
mhm,
remember talking to my boys about, like, that feeling, because I was determined to be a good dad, right?
mhm,
By my own standards, meaning I already knew I'm changing diapers. I'm not going to be one of those, go get the kid. Like,
mhm.
I'm involved in every, like, let me see the registry also. Let's sit down together and do these things, right?
Mhm. Yep.
Um, because I wanted to, but also I wanted Georgie to know that that was what her father did, right?
Mhm.
And I remember talking to one of my boys about this, like, helplessness that I felt, and he gave me some really good advice, which I think could apply to also being the newlywed in the same space, right? Was
Mhm.
like, yeah, you're not going to be able to breastfeed right now. And yeah, she might be crying on you, but as soon as mommy comes in the room, she's going to want to go to mommy. So, like, hide your
Mhm.
feelings. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
my focus then turned, per this good advice, into taking care of my wife.
Yeah.
If she's the main caretaker for our child, well,
Mhm.
who's taking care of her? Cool. Let me focus on that. And then
Mhm.
when I do that, I can feel as though I'm actually taking care of everybody. So, like you said, I'm going to cook, I'm going to do these other things. And
Mhm.
that gave me a sense of peace, in a way that I'd kind of been worked up about, because, as I'm sure was your experience being in the NICU, there were some times when you had to make decisions or step in and ask the doctors, no, repeat that to me again. I need to hear what you're doing with my wife.
Yeah.
I need to hear what you're doing with my child. Don't talk around me. I'm here,
Right.
you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
And that was a big, like, change for me.
Yeah. There were times there was so much information and things that they were telling us that,
Yeah.
she wasn't able to, absorb it all. And I had to be there to say, okay, well, they also said this, and, or she'll remember something later. And, so there was a lot of that. You talk about being, like, involved 24 hours a day, as you should be, right? As
Right.
it
As you should be.
as my father was with me.
Right.
Uh, you
Mine
know, I,
too.
I was blessed to grow up in a two-parent household until he passed away. And I was 15. But prior to that, the household I grew up in was husband, wife, and children. So, you know, um, I'm 42 now. You know, my wife is 41, and I'm trying to rectify the mistakes that I made as a young father
Yeah. Yeah.
in a new situation, and still, learn as each day goes by. And it's not easy, but I don't think I would change this journey that's been happening, because it's showing me how real God is, if that makes sense. You
It
know,
makes perfect sense.
and it's showing me how powerful prayer is. And
Mhm.
I don't think I would change, how the journey's been going, because
Yeah.
it's showing me how strong this baby is, how
Mhm.
much she wants to survive and thrive, and how well she is thriving, and how, in the face of what seems like insurmountable turmoil, or
Mhm.
that black love is bonded, is binding, you
Binding.
know
Yeah. Yeah.
and I feel good, man. I
The
feel
idea of your child and you and your wife having um uh a W, so to speak, already going into, this new part of life is really encouraging. And I think it's something that you will always be able to point back to Scarlett and say, well, no, you made it through this, or we made it through this.
yeah.
And I think that's what adversity does, right? And also, a good friend of mine was saying the other day that there is a level of empathy that you have for a lot of other people and their situations because of your own. And
Yeah.
I think that happens to be one of the most important things that we can do as parents is actually provide for our kids experiences that help them to connect to other people based upon how well and vulnerably and honestly we connected.
Mhm.
And a part of that connection, I know, and I keep going back to this because, they talk about the language that everybody speaks, and that's music, right?
Mhm.
I wonder, before Scarlett came, when she was in the womb, was there any music involved in that part of the process? Like for us, what we did was I was putting headphones on Jovi and Stomach,
Mhm.
once or twice a week. Did you
Mhm.
have anything in that way that kind of led to an experience that you guys had as a family?
So, one number one, my wife would put the headphones on her belly, the belly buds,
Belly buds.
and we
Yep.
would play classical music. And then,
Yep.
I don't know if you know this about me, but did you know I rap before I DJ?
I did. I saw a photo of you on the cover of, I guess it was the FAMU, and it might
And
have
you,
been. Yep, yep, yep.
yeah. So when she was in the womb, I wrote a song for her, and I actually ended the
Ah,
song out. And the song is called "I Found God." So it says, I went from no lady in my life to maybe this is right, to baby and a wife, watching Instagram, going crazy with the likes. It placed me in the light of the Lord. My prayers answered, my fear transferred, my soul resurrected. I'm hoping to get the message. To bring a baby girl in this crazy world is a blessing, with lessons to teach you, waiting for the day to greet you. Feeling like I know you already before I meet you. I've seen you in my dreams, and can't nobody tell me where to find God. I found it in mommy belly with belly buds. We're going through hell because it's darkest before the dawn. So I wrote a song to lay the foundation of black love and family. Never thought a baby girl could redefine the man in me, redefine my sanity and put me on the right path. Thanking God for sending me a life raft. I found God.
you playing your song that you wrote for your daughter to your daughter, and it calms her now.
Yep. Yep.
I mean, I told y'all about this voice, right? I said, man, I love that. I actually have not written anything for Georgie yet, oddly, although she was actually on my lap while I was writing a project, during the early part of her life.
Mhm.
But I have such admiration for folks like you who are able to put something like that is timeless, in front of her, because she'll always hear that. She'll always have that.
Yeah.
A friend of mine was talking the other day about the things that he's begun to put aside for his son,
Mhm.
so that when his son gets to be a certain age, they'll know how he felt now.
Right.
And Scarlett will be able to not only know because of your presence in her life, God willing, right?
Yeah.
But also how you felt in that moment. And I think that's probably the really interesting thing as well about the difference in the 14 years between when you first became a father and now. There's so many things that just weren't available even then,
Mhm.
right? Like, I mean, the technology, the baby monitors, the belly buds, all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
a different world now.
Yeah. We even bought a little baby Doppler.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, we would listen to her heart every day. We would wake up. We would listen to her heartbeat. I put the gel on her,
Yeah, yeah.
listen to the heartbeat, and then I would like record it with my voice memo so that we'd
Yeah.
always have it. It's like little things like that helped us deal with everything that was compiling on us throughout the journey, at least definitely throughout the pregnancy journey. And then once she got here, it's the therapy, speech therapy, the
Yep.
occupational therapy, but then also like having her around like family, my mother, my grandmother. This is her 10th great grandchild. She's 96,
Wow.
and she sings to Scarlett, every time we go over to my mother's house. So it's trying to put all this love, cover her in all this love to show that, yeah, you have a great purpose to serve in this life. And we're instilling that in her mentally from now.
All right, so I got a couple rapid fire questions for you that we like to have our guests run through, and then of course I wanna end with asking you perhaps the most vulnerable question that we're gonna ask today. If you're up for it, I'm gonna fly through these
Oh,
things, pun
yeah.
intended.
Let's
Um,
let's do it.
when you found out you were going to be a dad, one of your boys, maybe a couple of your boys, gave you some advice. What was the best piece of advice that you received?
I would say from my eldest brother, Selwyn Hines, he said, "Be there,"
Mm,
and I took that on multiple levels. Be
mm,
there.
love that. What's your secret weapon? Do you have one already? Like if she's crying, you come in the room and there's a thing that you do. What's your secret weapon that always works?
Something that I learned from my wife because it's her secret weapon, and I had to borrow it. Is a plain patty cake.
Love it.
Yeah, works every time.
What's the difference between a father and a dad?
Hmm. By definition, anyone can be. It's interesting. I know it's rapid fire, but
Yeah, no, take your time.
those terms are like you can be a father by procreating. Doesn't mean you're a dad.
Yeah,
Like I've heard people use the term even when you talk about I've heard stepdad more than stepfather.
that's true.
You
That's
know,
very true.
they made a scary movie about the stepfather. It was never the stepdad. So I would say, you can be anyone can be a father, but not everyone can be a dad. Every
Man, I
man,
love that.
you know.
I love that.
Yeah.
Is there a hiding spot that you have in the house when you need to just get away from everything?
My hiding spot is on my motorcycle.
Favorite day of the week?
Uh Saturday.
Favorite TV father?
That is a good one. Favorite TV father. Uh Malik Yoba from New York Undercover.
Well done.
Him and G.
Well done. I love that relationship. All
Mhm.
right, so you find out your boy's gonna be a father and you wanna buy him something. What do you get him that you know he absolutely needs?
I don't, well, because I don't know if it's gonna be a boy or a girl, so I just have
Right.
to get him a gift card to buy my baby for like
There you go.
$1,000. Say, use it wisely.
And the final question, which doesn't necessarily have to be rapid fire, but I think is probably gonna be the one, that'll take us out here, is when it's all said and done, and you can, categorize that how you need that to be. It could be the age when you think like, some fathers or mothers think, oh, if I get them off to college, I'm done. You're never done, but like I'm done. Or if they get a job, I'm done. Or they
Mhm.
have their own kids, whatever that imaginary hallmark is. Whenever it's all said and done, and Scarlett is given the opportunity to share with somebody what it is that she learned specifically from her dad. What is it that she'll say that will make you smile?
She'll say that she learned how to be her authentic self and how to be a good human being in this world and contribute to the essence of being black.
Ashe and amen.
Yes,
I
sir.
love that, brother. Hey, man, I really, really appreciate you for this time. There are a couple of links that I'm going to throw in the show description. I want folks to get out there if they can and patronize not only your work as an amazing DJ, but also your work as a photographer. I've seen a couple of photos starting to pop up on Instagram, you know, and I'm looking because I know eventually you're gonna throw some lights up somewhere and do something. I know it's gonna happen.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I have a huge photography exhibition going on in Miami right now. It's my biggest one to date. It's 61 images.
Wow.
And it's at the History Miami Museum because it covers Miami's pandemic life. So it's all photos from 2020, just showing what we went through here in the 305. And this museum came and saw it at a smaller exhibition I did, and they told me that what I captured was historic, and they wanted me to present it in their museum. So it's been running from August, and it'll go until February 2023.
So y'all hear that? If you're in Miami or you're making a trip down to Miami, especially those of you going down for Art Basel or even just getting away, please make sure to hit up at AFLYGUY, a Fly Guy. I'm sure all the information will be up there. Of course, we'd love for you to hear his music as well, particularly this record that was dedicated to Scarlett. But if you do have the opportunity to take a friend over to the exhibition so you can see exactly the other things that motivate this guy, in addition to being motivated by wanting his daughter to contribute to Black excellence in a very special way. Look, man, I know that you are extremely busy. I know this because I tried to get you to stay in town a little bit longer for homecoming. You had to go back home to do like 12 different parties in 10 minutes or something like that. I don't know what the number is. But I really appreciate you spending this time. And also, to be honest, man, we've never really had a conversation like this.
Yeah.
And that's what Diaper Dads is about. You know, I love that we're able to weave in all of the other things, but this is something in addition to being bald-headed men with mustaches and goatees that went to HBCUs and being DJs, right? And being fly.
Right.
We are also bound inextricably by our responsibilities and our privilege as fathers. And I really appreciate you sharing your story today.
No, I thank you for the opportunity. And, you know, like you said, you know, I don't get a chance to speak like this. So it was definitely enjoyable for me. And I'm just glad I had the chance. So thank you, George.
Man, I appreciate it. My love to your wife and to your daughter.
Thank you, brother.
All right, peace.
Peace.
So that is it for this episode of Diaper Dads. Big shout out to our guest, DJ Fly Guy, for sharing his story and for sharing his music. And of course, shout out to his family for making him a father. I hope this one felt good to you. I hope you think a little bit more about your journey as a father, or your father's journey as your dad, or your partner's journey as a papa. This is Diaper Dads, where we don't have all the answers, but we'll ask all the questions and share all of our stories. So please share this story with someone who you think needs it. Catch you next time.